Hello?
Hello, Shimon.
Oh, it's Shimon.
Oh, Shimon, sorry.
Yeah. No, no, that's okay. Oh,
How are you doing?
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Pretty good, pretty good. And you?
I'm pretty good. Are you in UK?
Okay. Oh,
Are
oh
you
no,
in
I'm in Japan.
you're in Japan? Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's
Kyoto. Yeah,
awesome. That's awesome.
yeah.
So tell me your story, Shimon.
Well, okay. Well, where to start?
Yeah.
Um, okay, so I'll start. Okay, so um, the first time that I found you was when you subbed for Neil.
Yeah.
Remember
That was
your
the
first meet? Yeah,
accidental
yeah,
speaking.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And that was like my third meeting, and I was, waiting for Neil to, come up, and I was like, who's this guy,
Yeah.
And I was, pretty confused, and I thought it was kind of a radical non-dual way to, you know, teach the listeners that you don't have control over anything,
Yeah, yeah.
because there was no announcement or anything, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
It was a very
and
last minute thing, and I was planning
right,
just to
right,
say it's
yeah,
canceled. And I think someone
yeah,
said, "Why don't you speak? You've spoken in in breakout rooms or something like that."
right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
right, right, right.
yeah,
So, and you were, just like you, I had this stupid idea that only white people get this. So
yeah,
I was kind of relieved, oh, okay, he's an Asian.
yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, it's okay to be an Asian, to
Yeah.
be listening to this. It's a stupid idea, but
It
just like
is,
you, I
but you
had
know
to.
what? But when you're desperate, right, you create all of
Right.
this seeming excuses of why can it happen to
Yeah,
me?
yeah, yeah,
Why,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
and I was like, it's predominantly a white kind of like kind of attainment is what I thought at that time. It was an attainment, so to
Mhm.
speak, right? So it's like, but like it will never happen to me. So it's all of these excuses to maintain that
Yeah,
there is something that needs to happen to me. Yeah.
yeah. It was more like for me, it was like unworthiness too, I'm not worthy, I'm not ready. And yeah, I
That's
just,
what drives the seeking, is
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
lack,
Just come
that
up with all those
unworthiness.
excuses. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because, like even after finding you and what, Naho and Mei Long,
Yeah.
I was like, right, they're Asians, but they all live in the West, right? And oh shit, I was like, you have to be like bathing in the Western culture to,
That's right.
get
Yeah.
all this. And I was like, oh shit,
Yeah.
I'm in Japan.
There's even a
I should
Japanese, there's even
move.
now
Yeah,
who's Japanese, right?
yeah, right, right. But she's in France and you're in Canada and
Yeah.
Meilong's in Netherlands. And I was like, I gotta
I
move to
gotta
New
move.
York or something. Yeah. Well, anyway, and so I don't know what drove me to this seeking was like about a little over 20 years ago. I had a sudden glimpse, a really big
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
out of the blue, because I wasn't interested in all this spirituality
Yeah.
or anything like that. I was doing like breathing exercises to, just strictly for physical relaxation.
Yeah.
And it just happened. And I was like,
What the hell?
yeah, I mean, everything was the same, but just a little bit shinier.
Yeah.
I don't know, a little brighter.
I like that. I like that. It's like
Yeah,
someone turned the light on in a
yeah,
semi-dark
yeah, yeah,
room
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
everything's like, oh, wow. Yeah.
Right, 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 right,
Yeah.
right. So that lasted for a few months.
Hmm.
And then, the typical, the it went away. So I was like,
That's the worst thing,
wonder.
isn't it? Right? That's the worst thing.
When it happened, it was like a blessing, but it quickly turns into a curse, you know,
deadly
like,
curse. It's just the worst, right? So go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, no. Well, I've listened to most of your, meetings and videos, so I know you've gone through all the, suicidal depression and not being able to get out of bed and all that. I went through that too.
Oh wow, yeah,
And so, yeah, so I was just desperate to, like experience the ultimate glimpse. It was basically a search for the ultimate glimpse. And I started with the power of now, like everyone else.
I did that too. Yeah,
Moji,
yeah,
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 Moji,
yeah,
Rupert Spira, Douglas Harding, and all that. And one day I was watching Buddha at the Gas Pump, that YouTube
yeah,
channel,
yeah,
and I saw the interview with Tony Parsons,
yeah.
and it was so different. It just sounded and felt so different, right? So, I was really drawn into this radical non-duality, and I right after that, I watched Zero in One, the
Yeah,
film that Frank made.
Frank.
I
Yeah, yeah,
discovered Andreas, Kenneth, and
yeah,
Jim Newman, and I started to um, join the meetings, and just like I told you, I found you in my third meeting
yeah. That's
accidentally.
right. Yeah,
Yeah, and I've been listening to everyone now, everybody, including you, on and off. And I really wanted to do this one-on-one for a long time, but because you know uh, your meetings starts around 4 a.m.
yeah.
here, so even even if I wanted to join, but it would just wasn't practical. So
There's a
I
few Japanese people actually that reached out to me, and they said that's why I know that
yeah
it's like really really early. Some of them
yeah
think
yeah.
I'm Japanese, right? So, uh,
Oh, really?
yeah, yeah. I guess it's just the first glance, like the beard, and
Yeah yeah
because
yeah yeah
I'm
yeah yeah yeah.
Filipino, right?
You
So
could pass for. Oh,
I could
okay,
pass for
cool.
Japanese, yeah, or
Yeah
Korean.
yeah
Some
yeah
Korean claim me and
yeah.
Japanese claim me.
Chinese and
Yeah,
yeah
but
yeah yeah.
but when it comes to a Filipino, they're like, they're not Filipino, and I'm like, yes, I am.
You know what? You actually you don't really look like a Filipino.
Yes,
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
you look more East Asian than
that's
Southeast
right. Yeah,
Asian. Yeah
yeah,
yeah yeah
yeah.
yeah. So I don't know, man. The questions don't come up anymore,
Yeah.
but still there's this, I don't know, constant. I wouldn't call it a drive, but like a thirst for, I don't know, whatever it is. This silence, the
Yeah,
beloved.
yeah,
And, like everyone else, I've had my, mini glimpses and,
yeah.
you know, all that. But yeah, that's where I'm at, I guess.
Okay. All right. So that, that what's coming up, right, is just basically
Right,
kind of like, some people will call it a contraction, or and some
right,
people will
right,
call it a thought. We're just naming things that already is. So that longing or that thirst is also it. And it's hard to think that way, that that's also it, meaning that that's also what is up here, because there's really no separation from a perspective of a thinker or from a perspective of a seeker. There's something missing, but that what is missing is also it, meaning that there's really nothing missing aside from an idea or a feeling or contraction, or an intuition that something's missing. But all of that is driven by the character. But the character is just, is illusory. So it's like this circle that keeps on cycling over and over again with no really basis. So I'm going to say it now. That thought is irrelevant because it already is. It already is. But there's a holding back seemingly for waiting for something to happen. And that's what prolongs or that fuels that seeking. This is it. You know what I'm saying? And even that time that I was like lying in bed and, can't get up, that's also it. It's always it. But
Okay.
what you're looking for is the movement, but what is obvious is the stillness. Or some people would call it beloved or whatever. Let's drop all those names, right? It's just this mystery. So this
Yeah.
mystery does not move. It cannot be thought about. It cannot be captured. But it's always there. I'm going kind of like Cohen with you. But it's not really a Cohen, so because there's nothing to solve. So
My
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
no. Just my intuition tells me it's impossible to get this.
But who says that? So that's irrelevant. Every thought that you'll come up with in this meeting is irrelevant because it already is.
Right.
Yeah, it's already the case. And then when you had
Yeah.
those glimpses, it's almost
Right.
like your thinking got zapped out, right?
Yeah.
And this is the same. So what I'm saying basically is that
How?
without that thinking, the thinking is also silence. It's also emptiness. It's also the beloved. But it's not really there because you can't grasp it. It's the mystery.
Right.
It's what is. So I'm going to use a whole bunch of words. Don't pay attention to any of them. It's
Okay.
nothing's going to land.
Right.
Did you watch my last one-on-one that I just released? The one with
The one with John?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you watch till the end?
Yeah, the deathly silence.
It's done, right? Because that's what it is. So you're looking for the word, but you can't find it in words. There's always this silence, there's always this emptiness, there's always this unnameable that always is. And it's even there when you're thinking. You can't get rid of it. It's impossible to figure out because it already is. So you're seeking for something that already is. So it's this apparent moment. But this moment does not have any segmentation. The only thing that has segmentation or separation is your idea of it. But in the absence of idea, for example, when you go to deep sleep or whatever, there is no Shimon. When you're doing something like gardening, for me, it's walking and playing music, there's no Emerson. But even when Emerson is there doing some stuff, that emptiness or that beloved or whatever is always there. It's when it was there when you had your glimpse, it was there when you thought you lost it. But guess what changes? It's just the thought of it. It cannot be influenced by you because there's really no you. Meaning that it has nothing to do with you, but you're operating on a you processing, a you kind of like mechanism. That mechanism is also just what is, or the beloved, or whatever. What cannot be talked about, appearing as an illusion, appearing as a dream. So meaning there's really no difference between a glimpse or no glimpse, because what is permanent, what is constant, is what is that cannot be talked about. It's here right now. It will never disappear. It's constantly there. But your idea, your thought, seems to come in and out, seems to contract and open, contract and open. So it's not a contraction, it's not an openness. It's always this. When I say this without a opposite. You can't think of an opposite for this one because it's unthinkable. Yet all of the thoughts seems to appear from this. It's inherently whole with whatever is happening. So it's in everything. So what you're longing for seems to be hidden, but it is appearing in everything. In all of your memories, in all of your ideas, in all of your thoughts, in all of your feelings, and all of your sensations, even the taste of your mouth, even though when you blink, it's not separate. So this shimmering whatever is already here. And I know you resonate with it, but not you. You know what I'm talking about, right? But not really.
Um, any word, you know, would be a lie. I
It
mean,
is.
you know,
Yeah, that's why I said throw away all the words.
right.
Yeah,
If I
that's
were to
okay.
be
Use whatever word.
perfectly, yeah,
Just a second, okay?
yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
If I were to be perfectly honest,
Yeah,
I can't say anything because
I can't say anything to yeah.
uh,
It or it already is. Without saying, or when you say it or you don't say it, it doesn't matter what you say. It's irrelevant. But go ahead, sorry.
no. I'm just at a loss for words.
There are no words.
Um,
It's already done. The words that seem to come and go, you know what I'm saying? It's just distraction. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant.
um, I mean, fuck. I mean, how do you how do you even talk? You know, I mean, like right now,
You
like
you don't
words are
really,
right.
yeah,
I mean, words are coming out, but I'm not doing it. I'm,
exactly. Exactly. Bingo. But that's a mystery. That's the mystery, right? It's and that's what is. That's whatever can't be talked about, beloved or whatever. You can't even call it beloved. You know what I'm saying?
oh,
You
okay,
can't
right,
even
right.
call it a mystery. It's just
Okay,
what
that's
is.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Throw away the words.
Yeah. Unbelievable, right?
Yeah, not even that in a
Not even
way.
that. Yeah. Because who's to believe or not to believe?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, there's no understanding.
No, there's not even a knowing it, right? Because there's no knower. It's not even an experience.
How the fuck is this all, happening? I mean,
It's not. And it's also happening at the same time, but it can't be thought about, right? Because it can't be grasped. That's why I said throw away all the words that I said right in the beginning, like because it doesn't matter what I say.
yeah,
Yeah,
I forgot them all.
yeah.
It's it's miraculous that, you know, we're seemingly having a conversation and
But there's no two. There's not even a
right.
conversation. Yeah,
Why are we able to
there's no
we
why. There's no we. Saying it just
right
is. Right? It just is. And that's sometimes if you now that you see not you, but it's seeing this,
right
right?
right right right
It's
right
do you understand how I laugh all the time? It's absurd.
yeah. I mean,
the absurdity of it, right? Like here I am talking to nothing, talking about whatever, say.
Right.
And then there's some serious faces that shows up on the Zoom.
Like
And I
you
and I
know,
like, they're kind of like
frowning and like,
frowning. Or there's some people that like, like as if I'm saying something glorious. Both are
the
laughable, right?
divine silence and all that shit,
What I like about talking about this is when I was a little kid, I won a
Yeah.
poem writing competition that was national.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that was with my Filipino Tagalog language, right? So when I moved to Canada, I got rid of all the language that I really love writing. I used to go up on stage and talk about poetry and everything, right? And it was so I remember kind of like giving all meaning that words are completely meaningless. I was saying, here I was, I was saying, so I know the meaningless of words and everything. And it's just, but at the same time, you can be emboldened and passionate and talking about,
Right.
So much passion that I unplugged my
Yeah.
but yeah, I had this fantastical DMT trip, or was it MDMA? I can't remember. When I was heavily into seeking. I don't recommend it or recommend it. This is just a story.
I've only done acid and weed.
This is just, there's no relevance to this whatsoever, right?
Right.
I saw that there was a child that invented language, and the language became other people, like different dialects and everything. It was just a trip, right? But it was all people playing in a playground. It's just the sand became a child, and the child became a language, and the language become different children, and it's just like this play of language. Right. But there's not even one, because that one is illusory. And after that trip, I was like, what the hell did I trip about? And now that I'm talking about it, I'm like, oh, it's all made up. All languages are made up. And if you saw my video, the last word of non-duality, because it's so funny, right? Because there's so many people that tries to challenge what I say. And I'm like, the discussion is moot. It's a moot point. There's nothing to argue about. It is what it is, no matter what it is. It's just, these are just all bubbles with no importance at all. So how are you feeling right now?
What? I don't know, that sounded like the stupidest question in the world.
Yeah. I know.
No offense. It just sounded really funny.
It's funny though, right? Do you get the giggles now when I giggle a lot? It's a joke, isn't it?
I mean, just the perception of the sounds, the oral experience itself is just, I don't know, it's just tingly and ticklish, and just fun, like
it is fun.
Wow, like
wow.
He uttered some words. And the meanings don't matter at all,
No.
No. I mean,
in the story, there's a story.
Yeah.
In the story, there's meaning and there's no meaning and everything.
If you started speaking in Tagalog and if I started speaking Japanese, we won't, understand each other.
Yeah. But both are completely meaningless, Isn't that silly idea now? Don't you laugh at the idea that it will never happen to me because I'm Asian, but there's no you to happen. There's not even an Asian for it to happen to. It doesn't matter what geography is. There's no geography.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, now that I don't want to use the word no.
That's okay.
Now that it's seen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing how you are able to keep it, like a straight face during, like a 2-hour meeting. I mean, you occasionally laugh,
I do, yeah. Well, it's like a movie, right? You know, it's like a movie, and you got really really
Right.
engaged in the movie, but you
Yeah.
kind of know it's a movie, and then once in a
Right.
while you'll laugh because you're in the movie but not in the movie, but you know it's just so
Right.
absurd, right? It's just the absurd theater, right, of seeking, you know, and all
Right.
of
Right.
this kind of like
Sorry, man. I just,
that's okay. You know who gets it though? My nephew watches this and laughs and laughs and laughs like he's
yeah,
into
yeah. Your
YouTube, right?
nephew's the one
He's probably the
who
clearest.
saw the plane on the what flying, and like he said it's an imagination, right? Like
That's right. Yeah.
yeah,
This is,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It's so clear because they're not quite jaded yet. You know what I'm saying? And
Right,
it's,
right, right, right,
and,
right.
but the innocence is there, right? And sees the innocence of all of this. And he was like watching, he was like sitting on my lap, he was watching some of these videos I was editing. He goes, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "Why are
Right.
they so serious? Don't they know that this is a joke?" You're
So
getting
so
that
you
now,
did,
right?
yeah. So did you like teach something, or I mean,
No,
did
no.
you like
Well, what happened during the
did
COVID
you
time
just
is
met? Right,
during the COVID time, my brother, you know, and his my sister-in-law were
mm,
both working during the COVID time, right? So they
right.
had no choice but to drop my nephew.
Oh, so
And there
you're
was there was
babysitting.
there was no babysitter. So here I was. I'm like,
Okay.
I said I'm going to be doing some Zoom meetings. So he
Right,
was
right, 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 right,
across the
right.
room playing with his iPad and his game, and
Yeah,
he would
yeah,
like
yeah.
perk up once in a while, and we would have this little conversation, and you know, and then one time he was kind of like having like a tantrum. He goes, "That's the tantrum just happening, isn't it?" Right? And I was like, "What the second here?" I'm like, "Is he just copying my language?" But there's clarity. There's a lot of clarity in him, right? He's a
Wow,
really genius child, though. You know what I'm saying? He's one of
wow.
those kid that
Yeah,
started speaking at a really, really young age and everything. And there's just joy, you know what I'm saying? And just this delight in seeing that there's this real, unreal happening, unhappening. There's no duality anymore. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what will happen, you know what I'm saying? But every time he sees me, he surprises me um,
yeah,
with
yeah,
some
yeah,
clarity, right? Because it's just, but yeah, but he's always been this wonderful child, you know what I'm saying? That is just
yeah,
very
yeah.
loving, very playful. He's into parkour, you know what I'm saying? He just jumps in and
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
well, but yeah, yeah. I'd be a little, yeah. I kind of imagine about, how their parents would feel, because it's a dangerous sport,
Oh
you
no, no,
know.
he does it within, within kind of like, just really, it's just
Oh,
he's tiny,
okay,
tiny,
okay,
tiny. He uses my
okay.
thumbs, you know what I'm saying? He holds onto my thumbs and do
Oh,
like
right, right, right,
somersault and
right, right,
everything.
right, right, right,
And
right.
I and
Okay,
I'm the
cool,
only one that
cool.
allows him to do it, right? Because I know
Yeah,
my strength and everything, that kind of thing. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but yeah. So isn't this just like that? It's like a play, isn't it? It's just like a play, but there's no
Yeah,
players.
yeah,
And that's even
right.
saying way too much now, right? Now that it's see, not you, because there's no you to see this. It's just seeing. It's a seeing without thoughts, basically. It's like without kind of like uh a commentator. Even commentating commentary happens. It's just bizarre. One time I was walking around and I was like, oh my goodness, this is like a movie with the commentary turned off. And it's just this treeing grass. That's why I love walking outside now. I was so into. Did you do any meditation, Shimon, aside from the breathing exercises?
Oh, no, no, not really.
Okay.
Well, I did some zazen, like the Buddhist thing.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
did you have a spiritual background?
Oh, no, not at all.
Isn't it weird talking about story about you now?
Um, yeah. What story? What are you talking about?
What do you mean, Shimon?
Right. It's so weird. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had this clarity for quite a while, like
Yeah.
even when I was interviewing, but I could not seem to say the words because it's hard. It's already clear, but the moment that I speak, that there was almost like it it
Right, right,
cloud
right,
it
right, right,
clouds it,
right, right, right,
right?
right,
You know
right,
what I'm
right,
talking
right,
about, right?
right.
Because it's so clear. It's like, how did you miss this, right? It's just like, what?
And no words can express this.
No words.
I mean, how do you even express this? I mean, it's not well. it's not. See,
See,
words are so fucking useless now.
you know,
I
well,
can't even.
when this was seen in the story, of course, I could
Right.
not speak. I did not speak. You've heard my story. I could
Yeah,
not speak for a month. I was like,
it's not hard to imagine. Mm.
but it was also because I was supposed to do kind of like a silent retreat. I was supposed to host it and I canceled it. Um,
Oh, is this during when you were
I was planning to get back into my spiritual
right,
teaching, and I
right,
was
right,
like,
right, right,
and
right.
then this kind of like was just like all of it was an accident. I was like, what the hell? I'm like, damn
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
I
yeah,
have a
yeah.
retreat coming up, and I was trying to get back into from my exile, right? And I'm like, I have nothing to teach. I'm like, what am I going to say?
Just sit there in silence for
Sit
like,
there silent. So I canceled it. So I had this place, I was saying that was just to
yeah.
I just used it. Just I was just walking around. I would look out the window. I'm like, oh, ocean, poop, and it was just perfect. It was perfect. So any kind of residues that I had just was gone completely. It was just like it was like a lobotomy. Everything was just like I would have thoughts about something and it would just get drowned. It's like what the hell? Or the worst one was the belief systems. It was just like, and you notice that too. Yeah, it does right because they're just words. Really, beliefs are just words.
So silent.
It's so
So
silent.
silent, like
Yeah.
I was, yeah. Why am I whispering?
Yeah. It's so silent, isn't it, Shimon?
Like just now I was listening to you talk, but I wasn't listening.
You're not.
I mean,
You've never listened.
right, right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Words were just, popping out of that
Yeah.
apparent mouth of yours,
Yeah.
and I can't even. I don't even want to say that listening was happening because it wasn't really happening. Like
No.
the words were there, apparent
Yeah.
there. They appear and just disappear.
Yeah.
Another word appears, just disappears, and that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
There's nothing more to it.
Isn't it like everything is like an open, closing, open? It's like this, but it's actually still at the same time. So it's like this. And this is the elusive. See, it's hard to explain it. And that's why I have a lot of fun with it. It's trying to express something that cannot be expressed. And no one's got it. No one's got it. You know what I'm saying? It's impossible, isn't it? Right? It's impossible.
No, it just how could you're right, impossible.
I go to I
Yeah.
go to a monastery with some Buddhist monk. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? I'm not going to
mm,
name it and
mm.
everything, but I
Right,
did a
right.
one-on-one like this, and so there were people around when I did this, and it just kind of like, and the monk was saying, I did not need to go to this monastery, but the monastery is also it. Like I did not need to do all of these practices, and he's like, this is sacrilegious, because but it's perfect. For a practitioner or someone that has gone to, you know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
it's like showing the ending, but there was no beginning to it at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, the alpha and
Alpha and
omega.
Omega. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's and it's even kind of like, when people ask me, how do you know? I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea.
Right, 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 right,
I have no ideas. I have no knowing. I have no knowledge. These are just words.
right. Yeah. I'm just nodding like crazy.
I had one in the last meeting that also kind of like popped, and for the first kind of like 2 minutes it was like, and then closed, and then messaged me after, goes, I get and I don't get what you're saying now. It's intense. It's just instant, right? You're like,
Right.
yeah.
And it never happened. I mean,
Never. Never. So that's why it's a hard, when I tell stories, and I'm like, this is just a story and everything. I really mean that. I'm saying it's not just trying.
Now I see that.
Now you see that, right?
Yeah.
This is just a story, saying, and
Because I wouldn't, believe it, yeah, they're saying that it didn't really happen, but I'm sure it
I'm
did,
sure it did happen.
yeah, I know it did.
It's just a way of saying that there's
Right,
not
right, right.
special, but it
Yeah,
sounds
right, right,
special, kind of
right.
thing. I'm
Just a
like,
figure of
no,
speech.
just a figure of speech, right? Or even when I say I don't really have a memory. Do you get that
Right,
now?
right. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yes, there is no memory. And what's
Thus,
funny, right?
no story. I mean,
There's no story. I did a one with Grace one time ago, right? And
yeah,
like this kind of like
yeah, yeah,
conversation.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then she messaged me the next day. She basically in bold letters, cap.
Right.
There are no fucking memories. Like, yeah, obviously, right? It's obvious. It's obvious. It's obvious without words. It's obvious without thinking. It's super obvious. It's super obvious that it's overlooked. It's overlooked. And I was like, how did I, for quite a while, I was like, what? What? And all that time that depression cycle and anxiety and
Yeah,
all
yeah,
of the sabotage that I did seemingly, you know what I'm saying? In the story, of course, how to get here. That greed for that divinity, because I became greedy, you know what I'm saying? Like I want that fucking enlightenment, right?
yeah,
So it was
yeah,
just,
yeah, yeah.
and then you go all out to do it, you know what I'm saying? And it's like it's like the ultimate, it's like you're in a reality. If there was a reality show, Survivor has nothing on this. that show or any Japanese reality survival shows nothing on this,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. They're pretty crazy, but
Because at the end it never really happened. You're like, oh fuck, damn it.
oh man, all the stupid things that I did. I mean, well, I never did them, but
No, yeah, it's just language again, right? We're just really
yeah,
swimming in language, and in language we're looking for salvation because all the words sink down, meaning that they are dead on arrival.
yeah,
The moment that you say it, it's dead. Do you see it now? The moment
yeah, yeah, yeah,
whatever I
yeah,
say
yeah.
is dead. It's a dead
It
language.
just comes up and just, like,
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
just instant,
Or the way that I was explaining is
Yeah,
kind of like standing in between the event horizon and a black hole. It exists and it doesn't exist. The moment that you say something, you think of something, done. Yeah,
wiped out. It's just,
wiped out. Yeah,
yeah. I mean,
yeah. Yeah. When I
and
go when
and
I
you,
go in breakout
yeah,
rooms, right? Like, I don't know if you've been to one of my online 2 days or whatever. I'm like, oh, I'll be back to
yeah,
talk to you guys.
right,
Three
right,
hours
right, right.
later, I come back and I'm like, oh shoot, they all left. I'm like, how long has it been? I'm like, oh, 3 hours. And my dog is super happy and tired, like
Right, 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 right. Three
because it
hours.
just
Wow.
becomes this, and it kind of like, and this is just a story. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
could also be whatever. What it's already what it is, no matter what it is. So if you're into hiking happens,
Mm,
but
mm,
there's no you
mm.
in it anymore. But now I can listen to music and everything. That nothing's relevant anymore. It's just the irrelevance of whatever, right? It's just it's yeah.
And you know what? It's not special at all.
No,
It's not special at all.
no.
I mean, it's,
And
I mean, no,
this kills the specialist. If you're looking for, it's dead now, isn't it? Yeah. It's
no
like the
adjectives.
equalizer, right? It's like boom, there's nothing there. And it's funny, right? People were like, oh, you're a teacher guru. I'm like, it doesn't matter. But there's no guru here. There's no teachers, not even a speaker. It doesn't matter. Teaching, no teaching, it doesn't matter. Did I teach you anything? No, there's no you to
No, no,
teach.
no. I mean, you, yeah, you didn't do anything. I mean,
I didn't do anything. Yeah.
you didn't even show me anything. I mean,
No.
it's, It's like, how did that happen? And it's no, it didn't happen.
It didn't happen. This did happening has been
Go
I
on.
get shocked by it. I'm surprised by it, right? So I'm just talking, just these words, bloop, 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 bloop. And they're like, oh, ah. I'm like, ah. It's like what is speaking to what is now, right now. You know what I'm saying? There's no more obstacle. There's no more filter, right? Seemingly you had like a filter before. I'm like, yeah, I'm an
Right,
Asian
right, right.
guy,
Yeah.
I'm Japanese, so I thought it would not happen if I lived in Japan. The story filter, right?
God, that was fast though.
That was fast.
Yeah,
There was this young guy that
yeah,
was faster than it's like
yeah,
4 minutes. It was like, okay,
yeah.
all right. He goes, I guess there's nothing to talk about anymore, right? I'm like,
Right,
no.
right, right, right.
And he goes, yeah, yeah. He goes, I can't believe that I was like, anxious for 3 days, waiting to talk to you. And then all of a sudden there was just this, and he
Yeah,
goes,
yeah, yeah,
and he
yeah.
said, it's because you did not present special. That's what it was. There was nothing special about you. That's what it
I
is.
couldn't sleep well last night because I was so nervous and
Oh, were you?
just
Sorry.
no,
Not
no, no,
sorry.
no, no, no. I'm sorry.
Who's sorry? Who's sorry now?
What's sorry? What does even sorry mean?
I
Oh
know.
man.
You couldn't sleep last night and you were just anxious about this, right? It's like, what's going
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah,
happen?
yeah, yeah, yeah. My
Yeah.
stomach was like hurting and like
Yeah.
I felt like throwing up and all that shit.
This is I had a couple of people that came here,
Yeah.
just surprised me. They're like, oh wait, we're in Canada. And I'm like, oh wow. We booked, I was wondering why there was people that book one-on-ones 3 times in one day, two people,
Mm,
right?
mm.
And they were like, we booked you so that, I'm like, but we're here. Can you meet us in person? We're at this hotel. And I'm like, okay.
Wow.
So I went there, basically said, hey, you know what? I know you came all the way here, but I'm gonna
Yeah.
burst your bubble right now, right? There's nothing that I can do for you. And I said, out of sincerity, it's already done. That seeking energy is also it. And first they were kind of like upset, saying they're like, oh, I thought you would have this energetic field and everything.
Yeah.
And I started
Transmit the.
yeah, and I started laughing so loud. And I'm like, well, you know what? If there's really nothing to get, it's either we spend here, me repeating this thing over and over again, and then or I just talk, kind of like what I did. I just talk,
Right,
and they're
right, right,
like,
right, right.
and then all of a sudden there was two of them. One other person said, I guess we can go sightseeing, since we're here in Toronto. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, let's cancel that. And the other person said, oh, there's nothing to get. And it's just kind of like, it was just laughter, 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 laughter. So we just went to the Toronto CN Tower.
Yeah.
We ate a lot of food, and it's just
Nice.
normal, right? It's just normal, the normalcy of it. And the other person started crying. She's like, I can't believe that I waited so long. I'm like, that's a
Yeah.
story. And then she started laughing again.
I feel for that one.
What's that?
Uh,
She was,
I feel for that. I was like, yeah,
yeah, but it's a
it was long
story.
for me too. And I'm like, oh, yeah, right.
It's a story for you too, right? It's just
Yeah,
because you are a story and coming up with just more stories. And then
right.
it's so clear and obvious. It's just so clear and obvious. One person had migraine and basically said, oh, migraine is still happening. I'm like, yeah, of course. But he goes, but there's no one having a migraine. And that was the big difference, because there's no more suffering for that. It's just what is. It's not
Yeah,
like, oh,
so
why is this
it's
happening
not,
to
yeah,
me?
it's not a problem anymore.
It's not a problem anymore.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
She goes, I wish you, and then she started laughing because I wish you also cured migraines. I'm like, I did not cure anything.
Right, right, right.
It's just a clarity. It's just you're basically, it's like it's like just saying, come on, there's nothing to get. Just out of pure sincerity. And then that clears up everything, doesn't it? Right? It's like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, well, and I must say it was quite magical in a way, you know?
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
yeah.
when you're dealing with, I'm just joking. there's nothing that I did.
Yeah.
If I was full of shit, then I'll be claiming, yes, it was my special aura. Don't you see my
Right. And
golden?
I would have to kiss your feet, right?
That's right. Yeah. So the kissing feet kind of thing is really funny because when I was a teacher, someone came from
Yeah.
India and kissed my feet. And the only thing
Oh,
that I was thinking is like, I didn't even get a pedicure, man. Like I didn't have to cut my toes.
it's not sanitary.
It's not sanitary. And then I've said the story many, many times. I'm like, that was the catalyst for like, okay, I'm in some kind of delusion or something that I'm enlightened or
Right.
whatever, right? Because
Yeah.
when I
Yeah.
went to see my friend, that was just, he was just really blunt and he goes, do you like that? I'm like, well, it's my destiny, it's my path. He goes, what's a path?
Right.
Like my spiritual path. He goes, what's a spiritual path? He goes,
Wow.
well, he goes, it's kind of weird though, because I don't have a spiritual path and I'm happier than you. And I'm like,
Right.
oh.
Right. Right.
And then
Ooh.
here
Bullseye.
was a spiritual teacher, right? With so many people that I'm taking
So
care
high
of
and
and
mighty and
high and
yeah.
mighty and everything. Uh, and I was in that bubble where everything that I said was like, oh, that was so wise, or even people thought when they probably saw me as hungover, you know what I'm saying? They're like, oh, he's just, you know, he's taking in the suffering of the world. Isn't it
The
all, it's all BS now, right? And it's just
yeah, yeah.
this is
Sober.
just
Yeah, it's
this is sobriety.
yeah,
Yeah.
sobriety is
Yeah.
sober.
And it's kind of like, it's almost like I like this. It's like it beat out the personality, the character into an honest, sincere what isness. It's just sincere, it's just honest, right? It does not sprinkle any kind of like magic here, although this is really magical. You're right. This is magical, but not in a way that to add more into that seeking. The magic is very ordinary.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
It's not like overly romantic or
No,
it's just
it's sober
simple.
magic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
simple.
It's,
Yeah, really simple, but extraordinary in a way.
in a way, yeah.
Extraordinarily ordinary or
Yeah.
well, nah, nah.
So even that, even
Fuck
saying
that
that, it's kind of
word.
like,
Yeah,
what the
right, right,
hell?
right, 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 right.
Yeah, yeah,
It tasted bad,
yeah,
actually.
yeah. Yeah. It's just natural. I think I like the word more authenticity right now. It's just very authentic now.
Yeah,
There's authentic and
direct,
sober
direct.
and
Yeah,
sober.
sober. Yeah,
Sober, yeah. It's um because there's this romanticized idea about awakening, right? Or whatever. Even the word awakening
yeah.
does not make sense, right? It doesn't.
Because
Awakening.
yeah, I didn't wake up from anything.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no me to wake up.
Yeah.
So
Is this.
how can you wake up?
Yeah. It already is. It's already over. It's done. Right. And it's yeah, it's the wow, isn't it? Right. So one of the things that I saw you without you saying it, it was the wow. You're like, when people start looking from side to side, there's already kind of like, you're like, what the. So it can happen to an Asian too living in Japan, huh?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Living proof.
Isn't it wow? Right.
Yeah, I mean, all those stupid ideas.
Yeah, that's what I would go to these meetings, right? And I'm like,
Right.
well, you know what? I had a taste of it, but what I tasted, was meant for the Eastern people. And it means, because, when I had that first, awakening or something, like that grand awakening, it was more like Buddha or, that kind
Right.
of thing. I'm like,
Right.
but
Right.
you are supposed to suffer for that awakening. I'm like, the Western people are luckier because it's just like that, or they say, they're, and so here I was listening to kind of like radical or, and I was like, this is not meant for me, which is really true, actually. It's not meant for anyone.
Yeah. Well, in a way, it's not meant for you at all.
But I'm like, well, let me be the first Asian to at least get this from the Western side. Let me be, But when you see it, you're like, oh, fuck, there's not even an Asian Asian is just another word, right? It
Right.
doesn't even matter, right?
Wow.
Yeah. It's just love. It's love that you can't understand. And that's what's so, yeah, it's what swells and also goes. It's just like a tide that goes in and out, right? It's just very gentle and soft. It's very vivid and also, yeah. And that's way too many words. Way too many words, and but there's also, it can also appear as poetry, you know what I'm saying? And the reason lately, I've been, like, the past 3 meetings, I've been doing a lot of kind of like more poetic introductions. And somehow, you know what I'm saying? Somehow when it's not in the structure of radical non-duality anymore or whatever, somehow that's getting a lot of, and again, this is just a story because no one, but somehow, like, I've been getting people who are like, I watch your video and it's done for me. It's over. That kind of thing. Kind of like this, you know what I'm saying? Because there's just authenticity coming at now. So it's not afraid to be poetic. It's not afraid to be whatever, because who cares? And there's really no audience. What's that word? It's dumbfounding.
Yeah, I'm dumbfounded. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's there and it's not there at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. And it's constant, right? This is the infinite, but you don't know what the infinite is at the same time. This is paradise, but you have no idea what paradise is.
you can't imagine it.
No,
It's
it
not
does not
that
exist here.
infinity or
Yeah, yeah,
right,
it's
right,
not,
right,
it's not
right,
like,
right,
yeah,
right. It's not
it's
like this
unthinkable. It's
huge.
unthinkable. And I keep on saying it's unthinkable, but it also appears in all thoughts. Although
Mm,
there are really no thoughts, if you really look at it. It's just this. Isn't it just, when I say this, isn't that clear? It's this now.
yeah, it's this.
Yeah.
It is this.
And people hate that when I say that. It's just this.
Well, I used to hate that
Yeah.
too, so yeah, I can relate to that one.
Why does it just keep
Hated
on
it.
saying this? But
Fuck
now you
this,
see, right? It's just
this.
this. Like, oh,
Yeah,
that's what
it
I
is
basically,
this.
it's just this. Yeah. So when I was DJing, that's what happened, for lack of a better word, was just, oh, this is doing this, but it's not even this, but it's all this. I'm like, oh, it's just this. So I saw nothing but this. So this was seeing this. That's basically it. So simple, so obvious, so direct. That's what it is when I say in
Direct,
the
yeah.
directness of it, right? The directness. This is not
There,
even
there's
radical.
no, there's no, yeah, there's no distance. It's
No,
not like this. It's just this.
this, yeah,
It's not
yeah.
like point here, point A to point B. It's just immediate, immediate.
It
Yeah,
is. It
yeah,
is. It's like
immediate.
more instant than instant, more direct than direct.
Right, right,
Yeah,
right, right,
yeah,
right, right, right.
yeah. More naked than naked. It's just naked, right? It's just rawer than raw. It's just this, and it's unmissable, isn't it? How can this be missed?
Right. You know, the sensations in my body, the
Mhm.
physical sensations are, even a little more vivid. I mean,
Yeah,
more lively.
yeah. And that's what happened when there's pain. The pain is more profound. It's more kind of like, oh wow,
Oh
that's
yeah. Oh
pain.
fuck. The
Yeah,
pain thing. Oh shit. That's the part I don't really like about this.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
you said what
That
you
there's no
hurt your fingers
suffering.
in the
But
door.
it's so weird because
Right.
when you can have a whole bunch of ideas about what pain is, right? But you don't know
Right.
what pain is. It's just what is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
It's
guess it
it's
just
naked. It's naked pain. So, we
it
have
is.
this predisposition that it's going to be
Yeah.
suffering and everything. It
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
have to be. Yeah. It's just what
Okay.
is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. but it's just, yeah, it's so it's magical. It's natural and magical. It's like seeing that mist on a lake. You know what I'm saying? It's beautiful. It's ordinary. You don't need to say anything. Or seeing kind of like a sunrise, right? It's just wow. Or seeing a sunset. It's wow, right? Because the obviousness stuns you. It's stunning. You can't say anything really. You know, it's like, or when you see kind of like a deer kind of like coming out of the, I don't know if you have deer in
Mm.
Japan, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or a whale coming out of the ocean. You know what I'm saying? It's this showing up, showing off as this. But again, there's no difference now between the sunrise and this, doesn't it?
No differentiation.
Yeah.
Somehow, like when you're still seeking, like, the sunrise seems more divine and, like
Yeah.
magnificent than, say, your hand. But
There's no difference. Yeah.
there's no difference.
There's no difference.
Fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Wow.
for me, going inward was more divine, like the
Yeah, yeah.
meditation and everything. So when I
Find your
walked out
true
to this,
self and all that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I was like a spiritual vampire. You know what I'm saying? I was like in my own darkness and everything, in
Yeah.
on the recesses of my own kind of like quietness and everything.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
when I
yeah.
saw that looking, you know what, I was looking at silence, meaning I was looking at the sun. That's silence. That's what is. I'm looking at this. Everything is this. Even I even said this. I was like, oh, even that the mess is this. When your room is, you know,
Mm.
it's perfect, right? It's perfect. And you see a little dust there. You're like, that's also it.
Yeah.
Everything is in its perfect order. If you look around, there's nothing out of place, isn't it?
Oh, like I said, there are no words. I can't say anything about this.
Yeah. Yeah, there are no words. There are no words, and it's um there's not even a process, right? So nothing happened, but what happened was within 10, 15 minutes of our conversation, wasn't it? Right? It was just like boom,
Yeah.
boom. So it was there was no processing there. You didn't process anything. Yeah. And now that's why when I said, like at the end of it, I'm like, there's not even, what? There's not even non-duality. There's not even radical non-duality or whatever is being said. There's not even nothing. There's not even whatever can be uttered it cannot capture it. Not even energy. You know what I'm saying? People say energy. It's beyond comprehension. Yeah.
If I were to put what apparently happened in a story, I think it was when you said, don't listen to anything I
Yeah.
say, or you said something like that, right? And you just started talking, and I was like,
And it's kind of funny, right? People get caught up in what I say in the comment section. You're like, "Whoa, you said this, and that." That seems to be.
ah,
That seems to be. That's the reason I don't
ah.
respond because it's a moot point. So anyone that's messaging and everything, and
I
people.
used to be one of them.
Oh, really? Oh, which one were you?
Oh, I deleted my account.
Did you? I actually had a few people that was really wanted to debate me, you know what I'm saying? But there's no debating this. It's just this.
Right, right, right.
Does this just debating this, which is also always this, no matter what, and there's no outcome of that debate, right? Sometimes like I
Yeah,
respond to the comment section and basically saying, but there's nothing that can be said about this. It's not even compromising or compromising. It's not even a message, really. Calling it a message is it's defeats the purpose of what is.
right.
Yeah.
Wow. Ah. I was preparing a lot of stories,
Or you?
actually. I don't remember any of them. God.
You started with your first sub story though, like like I'm a nation, Um,
Yeah, well, I did. Yeah. I guess I did.
this,
Yeah,
but that was enough.
apparently.
Let me just stop this. It's like nothing that I say.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just
Well,
kidding.
yeah, that's
It's
kind of
okay.
embarrassing now.
No, no, no. It's not. It's not because I shared that before too, right? I was like, well, you know
Yeah,
what? And it was just the unworthiness of it all. But unworthiness,
right.
what's that now? What's unworthiness? It's also what is, isn't it?
It's just a sound. Yeah,
It's
I
just a
mean, it doesn't
sound.
mean
Yeah.
anything.
It doesn't have any meaning, doesn't it? Yeah.
Right. Man, and like, when I'm like, we're seemingly having a conversation, and before I used to like just had to think about what I was going to say, like
Yeah.
while the other person was talking, I would just think about
Yeah.
what
Yeah. I don't even
just
know how that works
planning
now.
all the
Yeah.
planning.
It's kind
Yeah,
of like, oh. There's none of
right.
that. And yeah,
Yeah,
that's,
whatever comes out comes out.
yeah. Yeah. There's really no choosing what you say now, right? It just comes out. It's
No,
like,
no, no. It's just a response. Like,
yeah,
that's why all the speakers say that it's just a response.
yeah. It's just a response. There's really, it's just whatever seems to be appearing. That's it. And it's really simple, very, very simple. And there's nothing to get and everything. And yeah, it's just what is. It's just what is. It's kind of like, when you first saw me speaking, it was not planned. So I'm like, oh shit, I guess I was going to
Right.
speak. So, and then somehow, almost 2 years later, when I started doing the one-on-ones, that's when it was kind of crazy. I was like, what? I know that it doesn't matter and it's just a story, but somehow in the
Yeah.
story, it's
Yeah.
it's almost like making up for me being a spiritual teacher. Saying it's
Oh,
it's
right,
it's
right.
almost like clearing up. Saying it's like, because there's a lot of mumbo jumbo that I said as a spiritual teacher, like, um, and now it's almost like, it's like the cleanup job. There's nothing to get. It's already this, and yeah, it's just pure sincerity and authenticity, I think, is what's happening. I don't know what's happening, but you know what I'm trying to say. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I don't know what you're trying to say, but I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can
Perfect
express that.
response. Yeah, perfect response. I don't know what I'm trying to say too, but I know what I'm trying to say.
Exactly.
All right. I'm gonna stop the recording here now.
Okay,
Well,
okay.
thank you
Send it.
so much,
Oh,
Shimon.
no, so thank you.